Hey folks, Multi here. It is Friday, June 7th, 2024. And the significance of this date is that this was the day that I graduated high school 10 years ago. Except 10 years ago it was on a Saturday, but yeah, it's actually been that long. It's really surprising too. What have I been doing since then? Well, 2 of those years I was in university, uh, 8.5 of those years I was working at Walmart, and basically 9.5 of those years I've been living apart from my parents. I mean, yeah, because I was living with my parents the summer after I graduated. Then I went up to university that fall in 2014, and then yeah, I lived with my dad for a few months in 2015 during the summer break between the 2 years I was in university. So yeah, basically 9.5 years out of the 10 years I've been living apart from my parents. You'll have to forgive me if the camera angle changes a lot because I got my phone on a very unstable surface, so bear with me here. So those who have been watching my old vlogs they've been publishing, then you know my experience like around the time I was graduating, like the kind of person I was then, sort of, and just the sort of things I was up to at the time. And obviously not much has changed since then. I'm still gaming, obviously. I'm sure you folks can tell by that, and still vlogging. So not much has changed in that regard. It's hard to say really like how much my personality has changed as well since then. I Yeah, and I can't say if it's for the better or for worse either. Overall, I'd say I've had a pretty good life like in the past 10 years. But with that subject out of the way, it's been 8 9 days at this point now that I've been without a job, and for at the up to this point it's felt mostly just like another like a vacation from work, because my typical vacations from work are usually this long. So it doesn't quite feel like I'm unemployed yet. It's still, the feeling hasn't really quite set in yet, but I'm sure it will in due time. And it's very likely I'll take another week off, possibly 3 weeks max. But after that, I really need to get back to another job basically. So, but in the meantime, I've been just doing my best to sort of enjoy myself as much as I can. Unfortunately, I haven't really gotten any work done on videos in that time, which I was really hoping I did. Or for that matter, not a lot of language studying, like a little bit here and there, but not as much as I would prefer. But basically, I've just been playing games. I will say that it's possible I might play games. I might just take a break from like, because the issue is that I have is all these unfinished Let's Plays I have. All of you know about the Simpsons Hit and Run, SpongeBob Battle for Key Bomb Game Boy Advance, and of course Xenoblade Chronicles X. Although I haven't really gotten many comments on that Let's Play, and not many people like giving feedback on it yet. So I don't know how people feel about that LP so far, but I will say that regardless whether people are invested in it heavily, I'll still end up finishing it eventually. But there's a lot of things I have to consider for the future with my upcoming Let's Plays, and maybe even the current ones, because up until this point, I have been very stern about being, like, especially at least a couple of years ago, I was very anti emulator, basically. Up to that point, I was always a console purist. Like, I would always prefer, like, games must be played on the original hardware and all that. But I don't know, like, in the past couple of years, well, especially the past year, actually, I've discovered how much I love emulation so much and the importance of game preservation. And I've used quite a few emulators in that time. Of course, I cannot use this platform to condone piracy. I just want to make that very clear. But you can obviously do emulation without committing piracy. So, and that is a common misconception that people have. But I'm not going to get into that subject because I don't want to start like a debate in the comments or anything like that. That's just not my sort of thing. I don't like to start debates or anything like that. I'm just here to game and have fun. Basically, that's all. That's all I want this channel to be about. Basically. But that being said, I do want to make it very clear. I don't want to like be like all secretive about this or anything, but I do want to make it clear that a good portion, or potentially even most of my future Let's Plays could be using emulators just for the purposes of enhancing the video quality and also my enjoyment of the games personally, because obviously, you know, the most important thing for Let's Play, in my opinion, is that I'm enjoying the game, basically, or getting some form of enjoyment out of it. Obviously, that's debatable when it comes to games like Battle for Key Bomb and Game Boy Advance, which I honestly don't really like. But for the most part, as long as I'm having fun, then I think a Let's Play is well worth doing. And so the reason why I bring that up is because I might actually be switching to the Cemu emulator, which is the Wii U emulator. I might be switching to it after episode 25 of Xenoblade Chronicles X. You see, I actually have up to episode 25 of that Let's Play recorded, but I haven't edited episodes past 9, which is why you haven't seen any past 9 yet. So I still have to go back and edit those episodes. I have them on my hard drive ready to be edited and uploaded. So I just need to get around to doing that. But after that, I'm probably going to switch to the emulator because there's certain content in the game that requires the online service, and the online service is no longer available for the Wii U. And there is Pretendo. I did actually mod my Wii U once I got back from Japan a couple months ago. So technically, I could just keep doing Xenoblade Chronicles X on my Wii U and use the Pretendo network to still have the online service, and otherwise, other than that, the Let's Play wouldn't change at all. But if I do it on Cemu, then I can have the game display at 60 FPS. So those are basically the two options I'm looking at, basically. But it's more likely I'm going to choose to record it on Cemu just for the simple fact that purposes of Wii U games and doing Let's Plays of them, it's kind of a pain to try and capture footage of the gamepad screen, which is very integral to the gameplay of Xenoblade Chronicles X. And when I played Xenoblade X on the Cemu emulator, the gamepad screen is just a separate window that I just have to pop up. So if I could just simply record the game with OBS and I can pull up the window on my PC whenever I'm using the gamepad functions. And there's, obviously there's other games on Wii U where you don't really need to display the gamepad screen. But I feel like if I'm doing a Let's Play of a Wii U game, I really should display the gamepad screen. So out of convenience, convenience is another reason why I might end up switching the Let's Play to the Cemu emulator. Of course, that means that does come with a major downside, which means that I lose the game file and I have to replay back up to where it was in the actual Let's Play file, which could take a while because that's 25 episodes. That's 25, well, not 25 hours, obviously. I reduced the episode length to 30-40 minutes at some point in the LP, but they still ended up being hour long anyway. I don't know. But just something to think about. And also, there's other games that are on the Wii U that I'm planning to LP in the future, and it's very likely that those games will be Let's Played on Cemu as well. I might just end up never using a Wii U again, like my actual Wii U, for the purposes of Let's Plays. Now, I will say that every game I have on Cemu, I dumped my own copy of the game. I have almost the entire library of Wii U games, so I can just simply dump the games. I don't have to, search for them online, which is illegal. So that's another reason why I think it's perfectly fine for me to use Cemu. So yeah. And actually, I will say, Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, which was released on both the Switch and the Wii U, it happens to be perfectly optimized on Cemu to the point where you can basically customize almost any aspect of the game that you want through mods in Cemu. And that's kind of how I've been playing the game lately. And whenever I try to go back and play the game on the actual hardware, I just can't do it because I'm so used to the higher frame rates now. So yeah, let's just say that when I do get around to Let's Playing Breath of the Wild, which I've gotten a couple requests for, I am for sure going to be using Cemu emulator for that as well, because I just can't play the game anymore with the lower frame rates that are on the original hardware. So I apologize for those who are console purists that watch me, but that's just, I think times are changing. That's just how it is, basically. Simpsons Hit and Run, however, is going to stay on original hardware. The thing is, I do have the original Xbox emulator, Xemu, up and running, and I played some games with it. But for some reason, I can't get the widescreen function to actually work on the emulator, like the actual internal widescreen function of the Xbox. So for that reason, I'm going to continue to use my original Xbox for the Let's Plays going forward. And for GBA and DS games, it's probably more likely I'm going to use the emulator just because of the fact that they just look better with the enhancements available on the emulators. So I don't know. It's just, yeah. But I'm pretty sure you can go back in several years and see videos of me saying that emulation's bad, I'm not going to ever do it, blah, 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 and stuff like that. But I guess it's one way that I've changed in the past 10 years, though. So that's one thing for sure. Another game that I might possibly Let's Play in the future is Lethal Company, because I've actually been playing the game a lot lately. Like, that game I've gotten heavily addicted to and logged over 100 hours on Steam, like, no joke. So you might see me do that game, which would be very, very different for my channel because that is the first. It would be the first indie game I've ever done a Let's Play of, basically, because it was, as far as I know, it was designed by one person, basically on Unity, which is incredible because that game is just. I don't know how they did it, but they've created a masterpiece, basically, that person. So congrats to them on that because I can't stop playing it. And yeah, I'm possibly gonna do a Let's Play of it just so I have content for the channel, but I can also play something that I really want to at the time of playing it, basically. Um, eventually, obviously, eventually I will bring back the old Let's Plays that I haven't finished yet. That's always in the plans. But please, in the future, do not ask me or request me to play games because as far as requests go, I'm gonna play whatever game I feel like doing. Except for the times I might have you guys vote from a selection of games that I actually want to play, or there's also otherwise yeah. The point is I only play games that actually want to play because so I don't if I don't want to play the game, then I'm not going to be motivated enough to finish the Let's Play. Basically, it's just gonna be in limbo, just like that tends to happen a lot with my other Let's Plays in the past, unfortunately. And as far as like getting back to old Let's Plays, the answer to that is always going to be whenever I get around to it. Basically, that's always going to be the answer to people who are asking like, "Hey, when is the next episode of so and so Let's Play?" It's just whenever I get around to it. That's all there is to it. Whether or not I do that during my unemployment time is hard to say because, obviously I could take this opportunity to try and start a career in streaming, but I just don't see that as lucrative, honestly. Like even if I was popular, I would still like even if I made enough on live streaming to sustain myself, which will never happen because I'm not that great at entertaining, honestly. I just don't think I was ever meant to be an entertainer. As much as I really enjoy doing it and trying to do it sometimes, I just don't think I was ever meant to do it as a career, basically. Just something that I do as a hobby on the side. So even if I did somehow make enough, like a crazy amount of money to survive on my own, I would still prefer to have a real life job just to keep my real life stable, basically. I have to rely on this and do any e-begging of some sort. I don't ever want to do that for sure. Anyways, my voice is getting kind of cracky, so yeah, I'm gonna have to end things off here. So that's it for today's vlog, folks. Join me next time for either a Let's Play episode or more vlogs. Who knows? Whatever I feel like doing. Bye bye now.